Hello, BookTube. Let's talk about the books that I read in the month of October. I read 5 books this month. The vibes really vibed for the month of October, and all the books that I read were really good. So let's just jump right into it. Start off with The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. This is a mystery book, and there was more romance in it than I realized going in. Safe to say that it's definitely worth all the hype that it gets. I saw this book all over my book talk page, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna read it. Like, it was just kind of spur of the moment. I saw it on my shelf. I was like, you know what? It's spooky season. Let's read a little mystery book. I literally read it and I went to bed and I could not sleep. All I was thinking about was this book and what was going to happen next. What were the characters doing? I need to know more about this story. So I got up and then I read it until about 3 a.m. I read this book in under 24 hours. So let me tell you a little bit about the book. I'm telling you how great it is, but you don't even know what it's about yet. Maybe you do, but if you don't, then here you go. This book follows the main female character. Her name is Millie. She's trying to turn her life around for the better, and so she applies for this job because she recently lost her other job. So she's applying to be a housemaid for one of the wealthiest families in the area. I went into this book blind. I had no idea what was going to happen, and truthfully, that's it delivered on like multiple gasp moments because I was like, what did I just read? The next book I want to talk about is going to be Lark. I am definitely late to the game on this book. This is one of the most popular romanticities out there, and I completely understand why now that I've read it. You are fully immersed in the magical world. The way that I could describe it was everything had a magical reasoning behind it. So, for example, instead of you doing the sweeping had a magical way of doing it for itself. Like everything had a magical explanation to it, and I loved that. I absolutely love that in a fantasy book. So the premise of this book is really unique and interesting. Basically, there's 6 different realms, and they all have some unique power, and they also have a curse, which they want to break their curses. Like one of the curses, the Starling realm, they don't live past the age of 25. I was like, ooh, curses aren't just minor curses. I mean, they're intense curses. This book is intense. The Sential that happens every 100 years, where the 6 rulers go to the Sential in hopes of breaking their curse. About breaking the curses, they have to sacrifice one of the rulers, and they have to choose amongst themselves who gets sacrificed, and whoever gets sacrificed, their realm ceases to exist. So, like, the stakes are high, the entire book, but it's more than just oh, which realm is gonna not be here anymore. Trials and like showing their powers, and once day 50 hits, because this is a 100-day Sential, day 50 hits, and all of a sudden it's like fair game on the leaders can start taking out other leaders. On top of that, there's a love triangle that happens, and it's written really well. I really liked the love triangle, and I will say that I am Team Grimm. The next book I want to talk about, I was actually an ARC for, which that has been so much fun. So this was Heir of Stardust and Secrets. This book has Fae. I would say some morally gray elements to it. There's love, betrayal, loss, everything you could want in a fantasy type book. I don't want to say too much because, like, it's a very fast paced book, so things move really, really quickly, but the Fae are deemed to be dangerous and not trustworthy. And it's really, really good. The ending has me just patiently waiting for book 2. Like, I literally need book 2 so badly. But this book releases on November 12th, so mark your calendars for that. Next book I want to talk about is The Goal by Elle Kennedy. I absolutely love anything Elle Kennedy writes. She could literally print off her receipts, put them on the table at a Barnes & Noble, and I will literally go there and buy them. Because The Goal follows John Tucker, who goes by Tucker, and then Sabrina James, who are 2 students at Breyer University. This is the 4th book in the off-campus series. So Tucker is the hockey player. Sabrina is a study, and then study some more girl who's trying to get into Harvard Law, and she's also working 2 jobs, and she has a terrible home life. Her stepfather is one of the most insufferable characters I have ever read about. Elle Kennedy's really good at giving characters personalities, and like every time that character appears, they just ooze whatever that personality is. And she made this character so hateable, and I hate Sabrina's stepfather. And she lives with her Nana as well, and her Nana's hot and cold. Like, her Nana goes back and forth between nice and just like rude. So Sabrina and Tucker have a one-night stand, and that's all it's going to be because Sabrina's too busy. She cannot date anyone. She literally is just doesn't have time in her schedule for that. After that one night stand, she can't stop thinking about him and he cannot stop thinking about her, to the point where after they have their hookup, it was a wintry night and she lives off campus, like quite a ways with her family. And so she was going to drive back to campus that night. And he said, well, text me when you get home to be sure. And so they exchange numbers. And he's like, there's no way she's going to text me. Mind you, roads are covered in black ice. Follows her home to make sure she gets home safe and sleeps in his car. And then he drives back to campus super early for hockey practice. And I know that it's like, he like followed her home to make sure she was safe. Like, this is not a dark romance by any means. Like, so anyway, she's the black cat energy. Tucker has golden retriever energy, and their character dynamic was so good. I really did like this book a lot. This is book 4 in the Chestnut Spring series, and if you like a MMC who literally will say anything that's on his mind and will make you go, did he really just say that? Like, Theo Silva loves to get under Winter, who's the FMC, her skin, and their bantering back and forth will have you kicking your feet until the sun rises. This book is extremely bingeable, as is every Elsie Silver book that she writes. Winter is introduced in previous books, so I knew going in who Winter was. I didn't really know who Theo was. Like, he gets brought up, but you kind of know his character, kind of not. But Winter, you know more of her history, but then you get her side of the story, and she needed this redemption arc so badly because when you first meet her, it was kind of like, oh, she's literally the winter. Like, she's cold, not welcoming at all. And then Theo shows up for her every single time, like overprotective, extremely overprotective. I would say the main trope of this book is done really well. And something that Elsie Silver consistently does in her books extremely well is the history shared between characters that you weren't there to witness gets brought up in a way that makes you feel like you were there to witness it. So those are all the books that I read in the month of October. Now let's get into some of the books that I plan to read in November. I'm going to kind of go through these rapid fire. First up, we have Night Vane. This should not be a surprise because I read Light Lark and I love Light Lark. I need to continue this series, especially because Sky Shade comes out November 12th. Daughter of No World is another book that I am highly prioritizing because I've heard it get compared to Throne of Glass. Like, people say this gives them the same vibe and feeling that Throne of Glass did. I haven't finished Throne of Glass yet, but I am moving this book up my TBR because I'm so excited about it. And then the next book that I'm prioritizing is going to be Bride by Ali Hazelwood. It'll be my first Ali Hazelwood book, but I feel like this is fitting to the time of year. And then the book that I am currently reading is going to be The Veiled Kingdom. I am devouring this book. There's something about the way this book started where the main female character is running through like kind of like the alley or like the slums of this kingdom, and she is scrappy, to survive. That kind of a vibe. Hopefully that makes sense. When that book starts like that, I know it's going to be a good fantasy book, and I don't know how to explain that. I felt the same way with Powerless by Lauren Roberts. The Veiled Kingdom is a enemies to lovers, and what I'll say right now, I'm at like page 111. The enemies to lovers banter is true. Like, they cannot stand each other. They have no mercy when they're like jabbing at each other, like at all. Like, the things that they say to each other, I'm like, that was harsh, but enemies to lovers, that's what you get. So she is the daughter of the king, and he is the son of the rebel leader. And it really is set up to be true enemies to lovers in a fantasy setting. It's amazing. Yeah, so those are some of the books that I'm prioritizing in November, but I'm excited for the reading month. It's been a great fall so far, so I'm excited to continue. But yeah, happy reading to you all, and I'll see you in the next video.